All right, what happens when you combine a famous Pittsburgh playwright with a groundbreaking fashion designer and then throw in a talented author and top it off with some innovative local students? Well, you get an incredible experience that both educates and entertains.
To tell us more about an event happening at the Ellis School this week, we have event planner Alexis Allen and event producer Demeatria Bocella here. We should also say you are both proud Ellis parents, right?
Yes.
So tell us about how this idea was born. It's creating so much, combining so much, but all with a focus.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, initially they wanted to have their second annual Black History Month celebration. Last year they did a musical journey, which was really impactful, and this year they wanted to touch on fashion. Specifically, the alum of Ellis were asked to read a book by Piper Hughley about Ann Lowe, fashion designer, and that kind of transformed into a fashion show. I wanted to volunteer as a parent, and then brought on Demeatria as a fellow parent, but also an icon in fashion, especially here in Pittsburgh. It was only appropriate to make sure she was part of it.
Thank you, beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how this evolved, because obviously there's an August Wilson component to this as well. But first, let's talk more about Ann Lowe, because I think we may even have videos. CBS Mornings did a piece on her, really incredible. Talk to us about her history.
Yeah, I mean, Ann Lowe, a Black woman in history who has really made a mark in the fashion world and was known for creating beautiful pieces for Jackie O. And as we know, Jackie O is iconic in fashion. And so much so, I just happened to be in New York recently and traveled and went to the Met, and they have one of the gowns that she created in an exhibit there. So really has left a huge footprint in fashion, and we wanted to elevate and amplify that.
And not only that, there is this slight Pittsburgh connection because an author who wrote a book about her.
Yes.
It has this Pittsburgh tie, and also, did you say something with the Ellis School as well?
Yeah, so I believe over the past year, the alumni of Ellis were asked to read this book by Piper Hughley. It's a biography about Ann Lowe, and coming full circle, Piper Hughley is the aunt of a student at Ellis.
How about that?
So that is full circle.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Now, as we continue to unravel this, let's talk about August Wilson.
Yes.
Because obviously, everybody knows his name,
Right.
you know, this famous Pittsburgh playwright.
Right, so I wear the August Wilson hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to us about like how that became the theme for this.
Right, so we thought it would be really interesting to use August Wilson's American Century Cycle as our format and inspiration for the fashion show. And as you know, August Wilson, he wrote 10 plays highlighting Black life in the 20th century cycle. So we have from the 1900s to the 1990s, and we thought it would be so much fun if we highlighted looks from each of those eras.
How cool. And so we actually have a couple of models here.
Yes.
Tell us about how you guys created the fashions and how you worked with them on this.
So we've had quite a number of volunteers to include Eons in Shadyside, and we had Alexis' cousin who is a fashion designer. Yes. And then we just decided to, you know, pull together a variety of looks. Now we have our beautiful models here, Christina and Alexis, and they're representing the 1950s. And as we know, Fences represents the 50s.
Right.
And we had Denzel Washington here in Pittsburgh who filmed Fences right up in the Hill District. And we thought it would be really fun to highlight looks and what, you know, folks wore during that era.
Yeah. As far as educating the kids through this, this is really eye-opening, I'm sure, for a lot of them who may not be aware of all this history, right?
Right. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why we chose to highlight Ann Lowe as well as August Wilson. You know, with Black history, you hear a lot about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks, who were our heroes and sheroes. But right here in Pittsburgh, August Wilson grew up in the Hill District, his childhood home. And then you learn about history, you know, so they knew which era they wanted to represent. And that's what I loved, you know, and so they're like, oh, I want to do the 50s, I want to do the 40s. And we're just like, oh, well, this is the play that represents that era.
What I think is great about this too is that we know that kids have varying interests, but you're using both reading, fashion, art, theater, like all of this stuff combined.
Yes.
So they can kind of pick and pull what interests them out of all of it.
Yes, exactly.
And also, asking other people to contribute. Excuse me, DJ Femi, who I actually heard her being mentioned at another segment, she's going to be there, so as a black female DJ. So allowing the students of Ellis, as we know it's an all-girls school, seeing women, as particularly women of color, in different facets.
Right.
Who look like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, I think we have some video of the school, because if someone doesn't know about Ellis School, talk to us about, there's a great history there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so located in the Shady Side area right on 5th Avenue, and it's a school that starts as early as pre-K and goes all the way up to 12th grade. So as we mentioned earlier, Demeatria has her daughter who's in the upper school, junior, and I have a daughter who's in 1st grade. But it's a really beautiful community and really empowering young girls as being change makers in a society.
Yeah.
It's so great. And look at the kids. They all look so happy. It's really great. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank
and
you
to
for
our
having
models,
us.
too. You did a
Yes.
great job.
Well done.
Wonderful
Take a little bow for us. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Love it.
They're adorable. All right, again, this event is celebrating Black History Month is a school community event. It takes place this Thursday, February 15th. We're going to have more details on our website if you want to learn more about the Ellis School at pittsburghtodaylive.com.